everyone, welcome to the Yarn Parlor. I'm Allison. You can find me as alevitt1 on Instagram and Ravelry. This is Tuesday, July 19th, episode 23, and this is my podcast about knitting, spinning, and knitwear design. Thank you for joining me, to new and returning viewers. I just broke 400 subscribers, so thank you very much. As most podcasters talk about, there are so many podcasts out there, and for you to spend a little time with me really means a lot to me. I appreciate it. And you can find show notes in the Ravelry group. I post those on Thursdays. Today I'm going to be talking about the Handspun KAL for July that I have going on, my WIPs, spinning and tour de fleece, spinning for tour de fleece, and at the end, I have some acquisitions, and at the end I will be showing you some of my Italy trip. So on with the show. First, I wanted to, before I jump into all of that, I wanted to say a big thank you to Elise from My Two Tips podcast. Hi, Elise. Her episode 15, so it's a couple episodes back, she mentioned the Yarn Parlor and about the spin along and knit along. So she's a Canadian podcaster, and right now I think she's one of the podcasters participating, getting the word out there about the Canada KAL that's going on right now. So go over and check her out. And now for my KAL. The Handspun KAL that's going on for July. You can still join. There is plenty of time, and you don't have to finish the project, which is in the guidelines in the Ravelry group. So you can absolutely still join in. It goes till the end of July. It is using handspun yarn, but you didn't have to spin it yourself. You can use bought handspun yarn. Okay, so it goes until the end of July. The prize is a project bag that I've made and a skein of yarn, and I'm thinking of throwing in some of my own hand-spun yarn into that prize pack. It makes me nervous to send my hand-spun yarn out into the world like that, though. I'm going to get judged by my beginner hand-spun yarn. But please go and look at the thread. People have already started putting up their finished objects, and they are gorgeous. Michelle showed a pair of mittens that she knit from her hand-spun dog hair blend yarn. I think she blended it with merino, if I'm correct. And they look so soft and fluffy. It looks like Angora. They look amazing. And Jen has posted in there, just to name a couple, there are definitely more than these two, but I fell in love with Jen's cowl and mitts that she's made out of the yak and silk blend. I started spinning mine. It's to die for, and her cowl looks so luxurious. It looks amazing. So go and please check out that thread and see what people are working on. Moving on to WIPs. All of my WIPs this week are from Handspun yarn, and everything's new, so yay. The first WIP I want to talk about is my dotted rays shawl, which I finally casted on, since I've talked about it since like the beginning of this podcast. That this is one that I've wanted to do, and I hand spun the yarn. So this is the dotted rays shawl from Stephen West. There is a dotted rays knit along going on right now on Instagram using the hashtag dotted rays for life. So I'm not sure. I probably won't finish this in time for that KAL. I think it's more of just like a fun, everybody started knitting a dotted rays shawl type of fun thing on Instagram. But that's okay. It's fun to look at everybody else's project, especially since I had already planned on making this. But this is from, the Handspun is from Classy Squid Fiber Co. Fiber. This is my apple picking. And I've added in the Two Guys, I think it's Two Guys Yarn Co. It's Walk Along the Sun, merino. I don't think I put the tag in here. It's merino and silk. I will have to put the blend on the screen somewhere because I did not put the tag in here. But here is, so I finished the sky part of yarn. I didn't have enough for a next wedge, so I think I want to keep the wedges color blocked. So in the full color, I could have done probably 3 rows of the blue in this one, but I wanted to keep them solid color chunks. So I'm on to the light green. Oops. I'm on to the light green, and then I'm going to do the light red, dark green. So it'll kind of stripe in this effect. I didn't want to do red, green, or green, red, because it looks a little Christmassy. So I was thinking if I kind of put the greens on opposite end instead of alternating, it'll look less Christmassy. Don't know the thought process there, but that's what happened. But I think it's turning out awesome. I love this pattern. Obviously, it's Stephen West. I'm knitting this on my signature needles, 4mm US 6. They're fine. And yeah, so I started the first couple wedges with the merino silk, and then went into the Handspun. So this pattern, the doodler is definitely based off of this pattern's construction. And I wanted to mention that because I ended up frogging my doodler a couple weeks ago, I think before my trip. I think it was the way that the colors are laid out on the actual pattern, not necessarily the colors that I'm using, but every single layout that I have been, it's been bothering me, basically. Every single color combination that I pull out to use, I just, 1, can't visualize it, and 2, when I see other people's, I just think the chunks, the way that they're laid out, isn't gonna work for me, so I frogged it. However, this one is going great, so, and it's basically the same style of construction. I just won't have the cable and the feather and fan part. So it's a better option for me. Yeah. And hopefully I have enough yarn to knit the large size is what I'm going for. So we'll see how that goes. But it's one of those patterns where you can basically stop at any wedge size and do the bind off that he suggests. So it works really well with Handspun because you can use it all and stop whenever you feel like it. So that's good. Next, I'm working on, what did I write down? My Romney Kerchief by Jared Flood. I'm almost done. So hopefully this will be a finished object on the next episode. Here is a photo of that. It's a plain triangle kerchief. It's not even a shawl. I like to wrap things around my neck, but not necessarily huge shawls. So I thought that this worked perfect, and it's a simple garter pattern. I'm thinking maybe it would have worked fine, or it could have worked out fine with just stockinette, but I don't know. Follow the pattern. It looks great. This is my Targhee fiber from Three Waters Farm, and this was the one that I fractal spun, and you can see how it's kind of creating that striping effect, but then you'll get the pure colors like this blue up here, and I think there's this mushroomy gray pure color where the two colors matched. I thought I had a dark green that matched up. This one kind of does too, a little bit. That dark green stripe. So it's a simple pattern. And I'm kind of, okay, so it's a paid for pattern. It was $7, and it kind of bothered me when I purchased this pattern because it's such a simple pattern, and I know that Brooklyn Tweed and Jared Flood are big name designers and can charge $6, $7 for their patterns, but with something that has such a simple construction, I was like, really? $7? You really need that? Like, maybe $4. $5 I would have felt okay with, but $7 for a simple triangle shawl, I was a little bit put off by that, but I just wanted to follow a pattern. I didn't want to come up with my own thing. I didn't want to work the numbers. I just wanted it to be done, so that's why I purchased it. And it is what it is, and I'll probably knit more, so I really shouldn't complain, but my 2 cents. And I ran out of yarn in the very last section, so I'm using this alpaca. I think it's bulky, and I think it's from Cascade. I will need to look up this information. It was a random skein that I had in my stash, and it sort of matches that mushroomy tan color right here, and it's just going to be, I literally have one more row and then the bind off, so it's not that much on the bottom there, and I figure once it's wrapped around my neck you won't really, it's a little bit fluffier and a little bit chunkier than my hand spun, but I'm hoping it'll blend in, and if it bothers me that much I'll rip it out and just cast off with the hand spun. It was a provisional cast on triangle kerchief. So, and it was super fast to knit because of the size of the yarn. I like it a lot. And I made one mistake. I added a couple, this section here, this stockinette section here had like 2 extra rows. I forgot to start the garter on time, so that's the mistake that I made on this one, and it was nothing to rip back for. So that is my Romney kerchief, which will hopefully be done by next episode. The other 2 that I started were hats, the same pattern, and it is called Hats for All from Carrie Bostic Hage, H-A-G-E, published from mattermade.com. And it's, again, a simple hat. I just needed the pattern. It is a paid for pattern, but she gives all sizes from baby to adult male, and a slouchy style and ear flaps. The pattern is definitely worth the money with all the different variations. This is the orange fiber from Classy Squid Fiber Co. that I spun. I just did a couple of the art bats, so this is all that I actually have spun up, so I need to spin more. But my first problem that I need to fix is that these stitches, all the stitches won't stay on my DPN, so I need to find a circular. I've been to Okay, so the one store that I knew in Tel Aviv that was closest to me closed down. And then I went to another place and they have US 7s on a circular, but it's on a 1 meter cord. So I need to look for, I might just magic loop it with my own needles. I can create that easily myself with a longer cord. I was just looking for the hat size, 16-inch circular needles. Can't find them. Can't do it in all of Israel. I'm just kidding. I might go to the yarn.co.il website and just order them from there. It should only take a couple days to get to me, so that's another option. But I was really trying to look in and use local yarn stores, but that's not working out so well. The pattern is super simple. It's just a rib and then into a garter pattern-ish. I'm doing the slouchy version. I've started 2, like I said. So here is the other one that I started on the smaller needles, which I do have in circular, just not the larger size. So I've done the rib on this one and it's complete, and I just need to start doing the garter pattern, and I need the larger needles for that. I don't know, maybe I will just use the smaller ones and make it a bit of a tighter tension for the whole hat. Or if I have some even small, whatever, I'm not gonna figure this out now. But this is the beet salad colorway. Do I have a skein of this? Yes, this is a single ply. Both of them were single. I spun single. And yeah, it's a simple pattern, very easy, love it. These are both going to be gifts for friends, and I just need to find the right needles to continue on both of these. And those are the projects that I've been working on the past couple weeks. Doesn't seem like a lot. I didn't actually get so much knitting and spinning done on my vacation as I thought I was going to. It was a very relaxing vacation. I don't know, I relaxed more, actually. I did nothing, which was great, and that was the point. So that's all I have for knitting this week. On to acquisitions. So my birthday yarn came in that I ordered from Jing Fibers, and I bought 3 skeins of this, which is a mohair silk. Excuse me, what is the 70 ultrafine kid mohair 30 silk. These are 50 gram skeins, 459 yards. This is her blue iris colorway. So I just love working with mohair recently. It adds a lovely halo to anything. I like adding it in with another yarn, a plain sock yarn or something, because it just adds this fluffy glow to it, which I've been enjoying visually. And then she nicely sent in a skein of her Shusui colorway. This is her pure merino fingering, which is 100% superwash merino, 437 yards. This teal with pops of yellow, black, and orangey pink in there. So I love this colorway. It's awesome. I can't wait to work with this one. And you can find her on Etsy. I've mentioned her the past couple episodes. And I will put her information in the show notes. The next acquisition was not purchased by me. It was a gift from my friend who I met in Italy. She is my best friend. And she was there before me touring around. It was actually her honeymoon. And then she's got family there, and her parents came, and I came to visit, so kind of turned into honeymoon / family vacation for her. But she went to Rome and Venice and Florence and did a bunch of tours up there. And when she was in Venice, she picked up this lace weight cashmere for me for my birthday. It is Leila Bella, and it is exclusive for this store. Her soft cashmere. Here's the card, actually. Get the information there. I believe this is the same yarn that Kristen from Wool & Vine and the Yarngasm podcast picked up. She went to Italy last December, and I think that she picked up, maybe not the lace weight, but I think she picked up the cashmere from this shop as well, because it was an exclusive, and when you're traveling, you pick up exclusive yarns. Indie dyers, whatnot. So each skein is 50 grams. It's a lace weight. There's 770 yards. So I'm thinking that I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this, actually. It would make a lovely shawl, but I'm thinking if I ply it with itself, I might actually be able to get like a lightweight sweater out of it. Maybe. So I don't know, play around with that, but it's beautiful yarn, and I like the color combination that she picked out for me. The woman in the store actually helped her pick it out, and was very nice. So, and she said if there are any problems or any questions or anything, to call her, contact her. So a wonderful shop all around. My friend had a great experience there. So if you are in Italy, if you are in Venice, check out Leila Bella. And then the last thing that I picked up, or that I purchased, was from Blaine Fleece and Fiber. And I finally ordered my sweater quantity of her Icelandic fiber. This is from Black Velvet. 20 ounces, so now I have a total of, I think 26, 28. I should be able to get the sweater. I want to make an oversized sweater, and from my rough calculations, I got that I needed 20 ounces, and then I kind of forgot that I already had 8. That's fine. A nice 8 ounces to play around with. But anyway, so in the near future, I want to, before the end of the year, start another spin along to get me pumped to spin a sweater's quantity of Icelandic. Very excited about this. So that is what came in while I was out. Now on to spinning and Tour de Fleece. So I didn't get... I was really pumped about Tour de Fleece. I'm very excited to join, and I just haven't done a lot, which I'm a little bit upset with myself about, but I was on vacation. I was on vacation and I was super relaxed, and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna post every day. It's fine. So I've accepted that I had a very slow and not so great start to Tour de Fleece, which started July 2nd. It goes until the 24th, 21st, 20-something. I think it's the 24th. And so we're close to the end. Hopefully these last couple days will really pick up and I'll do a lot of spinning. But so what I started with before I left actually was I have joined the BFF group, Blaine Fleece and Fiber, and working with some of her fibers. This is Daisy. It is the Hampshire Suffolk fiber from one of her sheeps. And I have 4 ounces of this, and so this is what I've spun up. My sample was a 2-ply that I wanted to stick with, so this is the first batch. I don't weigh things, so I'm not sure how much it is, but I need to spin another single and ply those up. And then I was working on her art bat, After the Storm. And my sample there was another 2-ply, so I've finished this. I haven't soaked this yet, but here is my 2-ply of After the Storm. Came out really nice. I would say maybe a fingering, maybe a DK-ish weight. My cat just popped into my office. But it's got those little pops of color in there. I really just love the way that this art bat spun up. There's a purple one in here that I probably won't be able to find. But there are these just little pops, and it created like a little slubby bit right there. And I think that they look amazing in this background of, there's a red one right there. This background of the stormy looking greenish gray, and then there's also in it was this shiny tencel. Yeah, the shiny bit is probably a tencel. But it just created this nice shine overall. So I like the way that this worked out. Not sure what I'm going to do, but it's yarn and it's lovely. And then we just passed a challenge day, which was on the 15th, I'm gonna say. So for my challenge, I wanted to spin art yarn and or ply on the fly. So the art yarn that I started was from a art bat from Spin City, UK. And it created a nice texture in here. But for the most part, it was just a single ply, bulky-ish yarn. So I was like, okay, that wasn't so much of a challenge. Plus it wasn't really using any sort of technique. So I was like, this isn't good enough for my challenge day. Not even close. So here's actually more of the bat. This is there's like a ton of stuff in here. But it adds, oh, put it on the camera. But it adds texture, and it's got sparkle and fluff and everything, so it's gonna come out lovely. I think I'm gonna knit just a chunky cowl with it or something. And I mean, I like the way that it's coming out. It just is a simple single ply with, sometimes I would rough it up a bit with tufts of the white, the cream bits in here. Let's see if I can find one. No, not gonna happen. Well, I'll show it to you when it's done. But it's not, like I said, it's not using a technique for an art yarn, so it wasn't really anything of a challenge or art yarn per se. So I was like, okay, I'll do ply on the fly. However, when I looked up what ply on the fly actually is, I was so not interested in trying out that technique. So ply on the fly is when you, it's another method of chain ply, only instead of spinning up your whole single and then chain plying it or Navajo plying it, you spin a length of a single, and then with that length you chain ply that and then wind it on to your shaft, and then you spin another length of a single and you chain ply that, and then you spin that onto your shaft. So it's plying as you go, ply on the fly. I would like to work on Navajo plying a single and getting that down before I try any shenanigans with ply on the fly. Plus it looked really fiddly. I don't know what it was. I just was like, that's what it is? No thank you. So then I was trying to think up another thing that I wanted to try that would be challenging with my spinning, and I remembered that I want to learn how to spin from the fold, or at least try it. So, and I figured that would be extremely challenging, especially since I wanted to do it with one of the luxury fibers that I bought from Classy Squid, which was the 50 Yak 50 silk blend. I had 1 ounce just to mess around with of the natural colors. I've shown before that I have some of her dyed luxury fibers out of the yak and silk, but I wanted to, with this 1 ounce, I wanted to use it as a sampler. Yeah. So this is what I've come up with, and it is gorgeous. And it's a bit more consistent. So I spun this from the fold, long draw, horizontal long draw method, and it came out so cool. It's a bit more consistent with my thickness than the when I've tried before with the Cormo blend. That's when I first tried to do a long draw method from some Rolags. It's a bit more consistent with thickness. Of course, it's still thin like lace and like thick like a heavy fingering, but I want to make a 2-ply, and this will be soft and lofty and amazing. It feels like, so here's some of the fiber. When I first touch this fiber, it feels like water in your hands. It's so smooth and so light. It's amazing. It really is just softer than a kitten. It is awesome. And I feel so weird handling it because I feel like it's gonna fall apart in my hands. But to spin from the fold, you take, I don't know, I was doing about 5-6 inches, and then you break it. See how it just breaks? Oh. You wrap it around your finger. Now spinning from the fold, you can wrap around your finger and it'll pull from here, or you can just fold it if you don't like doing it from your finger, and then holding it and just pulling it out from holding it. There's fiber just spraying everywhere right now. So I wrapped it around my finger and spun from the fold that way, and I really enjoyed. It's definitely a challenge, but I really enjoyed it. I had trouble with keeping it pulling just directly from the fold. All of a sudden it would start drafting further and further down until I'm just drafting from the ends, which is the normal way of drafting. So I had to readjust. And the other problem that I had with spinning from the fold is that it would spin up to about here. Let's say that was more at my tip of my finger. It would spin to about here. I would use all of that fiber, and then I'd have to, just shifting the fiber up for drafting was a little bit of a challenge for me. But man, if you get it drafting just perfectly, pulling it out, it goes so smoothly. It was awesome. And then I would get like this big chunk of fiber to pull out and mess up my consistent yard and realize that I need to practice more. But I really enjoyed spinning from the fold, and I'm loving this fiber. I can't say enough good things about this fiber. It's so soft, so amazing, so luxurious. I can't wait to knit with it, is really what I'm getting at. I need to hurry up and spin this and then knit with this. Oh, it's so soft. So I'm going to finish the 1 ounce. I've split it in half the best way that I could. Again, I don't weigh things. I just kind of guesstimate. I'm going to spin a 2-ply with the 1 ounce, and then we'll see how it goes from there and knit something up. Knit something beautiful. Yeah, and that's what I've been spinning so far. I found an awesome article that I will put into the show notes on explaining from the fold and how to do it and different techniques. She answers a whole bunch of questions in this article that she had been asked about spinning from the fold. So I'll put that in there. And then that's it for today's episode. Thank you for joining me. Join me next week for, I'm going to be casting on all new WIPs, because why not, of handspun yarn for this week, because I'm really enjoying using my handspun. And why are you crying at me? I think he sees a bird. I have a feeling my cat's gonna jump on the table. No? Hi, Smoky Bones. Sorry about that. Next week I'm going to be showing all new WIPs from Handspun, and maybe I'll work on the dotted rays some more. That one's a fun one. And showing my July swatch challenge, what I've done with that yarn, and also the end of my tour de fleece, what I've spun up. Hopefully I will get some more going and it'll be awesome and I can show you that. My cat is like going bonkers. I will see you next week. Thanks for joining me. Bye.